Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning. Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning. Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning. Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning. Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning. Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning. from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning.
Good morning to Tobago, the Caribbean, and the world. This is the Tobago Updates Morning Show. Good morning, good morning. I am Ria Richardson George, and this is the day that the Lord has made. Julian Skeet is not with us today, but we trust that wherever he is, that he is safe and well. So we're coming to you live this morning from the 3rd floor, Portmore, Lower Scarborough, Tobago, and we're really happy to be in your company. Good morning, good morning. An interesting day today. It's Friday. We've got just about a week or so before the upcoming THA elections, and I know a lot of us are super excited, super pumped, and going to be super relieved at the end of it all. So, we continue to press forward, and to the candidates and to all of the candidates and political leaders, we say continue to press forward, continue to press on. Now, just some things coming up in the atmosphere or in our space today. Just last night we saw the Prime Minister addressing the nation. Some say they couldn't understand what it was about, but some say that it was indeed a warning to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. The COVID-19 cases have been increasing daily. And it's a warning for persons, one, to be vaccinated, two, to be careful in their spaces, You know, in and about Scarborough, we see persons moving around, no mask, not socially distancing themselves. And I've seen persons entering establishments without washing their hands or sanitizing. And I'm saying here, the onus is upon the store owners, the business community, to ensure that persons entering their establishments either wash their hands or sanitize, and that their masks are up. Their mask, not as a face, not as a chin strap or a head shield. Okay, it's supposed to be covering nose and mouth. So I'm just saying here, we have got to secure us and assist in securing others. As well, we want to take the opportunity this morning to extend condolences. Tobago has lost a stalwart and an icon in the person of Mrs. Ira Sawyer-Fat, who passed away yesterday. Now, I don't know about you guys, but Miss Soy, that name has been synonymous with the NIB Mall, Soy's Pharmacy, for a number of years. And, a lot of persons, once they feel they have a headache, there's a pain in the knee, a pain in the toe, are going by Miss Soy. There was always relief. There was always relief at the Soy's Pharmacy. So we want to take the opportunity this morning to extend condolences to the Sawyer-Fat family. And on behalf of the Tobago Updates crew, we say condolences to you, Dr. Denise Sawyer-Fat Angus, who, interesting enough, is going to be our first guest on the program this morning. I know that this must be a very difficult time for her, but she's here. And that just, to me, shows the level of dedication and commitment to the cause. All right, so again, we take the opportunity to extend condolences. Belated Thanksgiving greetings going out to all our viewers outside of Trinidad and Tobago. Those of you in the U.S., happy belated Thanksgiving. I mean, it's Black Friday today, but I know that you all are still celebrating. There's a lot of turkey left over, a lot of cranberry sauce, a lot of the good stuff remaining from yesterday. But we trust that you have a lot to be thankful for and that you do extend that. All right, so just to tell you what's coming up on our program this morning, we have got, as I mentioned earlier, Dr. Denise Sawyer-Fat Angus, the IDA's political leader and candidate for Bethel New Grange. She's going to be on our program to chat with us on the Political Outlook 2021. Coming up just after, we will be chatting with Mr. Ricardo Phillip, who is the political leader of the Class Action Reform Movement, or CARM, and he is also going to be chatting with us on the outlook of the THA elections 2021. And then coming up later on in the program, we will be chatting with members of the tourism Division of Tourism as it pertains to Caribbean Tourism Month 2021. So they're going to be chatting about their virtual tourism trade show. That's going to be pretty exciting. So lots more coming up on the program this morning. And again, we continue to encourage you to share the live, share the live, share the live.
It's a different type of thing down there. And we party till we drop down there. With a lot of pretty girls down there. Down in Tobago.
Whoa! It's the Quartz Black Friday sale. With the best-selling brands, best deals, and best offers all month long, you don't want to miss your chance to save on wow deals. Save on smart TVs, major appliances, furniture, bedroom and dining, with lots more to choose from. Shop today with Quartz Ready Finance and pay nothing for 90 days. Don't miss this Black Friday sales event. Only at Quartz, bringing value home.
You can now get whatever you need whenever you need it anywhere in Tobago with Tobago. Your meals, medication, groceries, and shopping all delivered directly to you. No more hassle, no more stress. Get the Tobago app today on Google Play or Apple App Store.
That's TAPPOGO and let us deliver to you.
Check our website at www.tapogo.app or call the experts at 494-TOGO and 484-4746. Tobago. Relax. We will get it to you. Tobago's at your service.
Good morning, morning, good morning, morning. Put a smile on Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place, place. Good morning, good morning, morning. Good morning, morning.
Viewers, welcome back to the Tobago Updates Morning Show. Morning. Julian, I'm really missing your good morning this morning, but I'm going to try my best. So we are chatting this morning with Dr. Denise Soyafat-Angus, the political leader of the IDA and also the candidate for the Bethel New Grange electoral district. Viewers, this morning we're talking about the outlook on the THA elections that's coming up just about a week away. Just about a week away. Dr. Denise Soyafat-Angus, good morning and welcome to you.
Good morning, Ria. Good morning to your viewing and listening audience worldwide, I understand.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, Dr. Denise Soyafat-Angus, we want to thank you for being here. I know that it took a lot for you to be here this morning, and we appreciate you coming. And as I mentioned earlier, it speaks to your dedication and your, your heart for the cause. You're about business. But we want to take the opportunity again to extend condolences to you and your family. And I mean, your mother was a stalwart of Tobago. You know, if you passed through Tobago and you did not know Miss Soy, then you did not really pass through Tobago. So I want to give you a few minutes to probably just share with our viewers, what this means for you and your family at this particular moment. You're a week away from the elections, and what is happening in your head and in your heart at this time.
It has been one of the most trying periods in my life. I'm sure everybody can account, sometime in their life when they've had challenges. And since I started this election, it has been one thing after the next. Right. And it started with, apart from other things during the campaign, about 6 weeks ago, it began with my mother-in-law falling sick. And of course, my husband had to leave, and he barely got to spend a week with her before she passed. Actually, the day my daughter was supposed to travel to go see her was the day she passed. So she then traveled a week later to go and see, to go and deal with the funeral arrangements. Right. And that left a void for me because it meant my husband wasn't there, my daughter wasn't there, just to create that support. Mom continued to support by phone. And then one day I visited her on Diwali, which was a few days, maybe close to a week after they had gone. And I realized that she just was not in the best of health.
As energetic.
Yes, she tried to convince me she'd be okay. And on Friday, I took her. I said, listen, let's take you to the hospital. I took her, and they kept her. And for 2.5 weeks, she was in the hospital. And, you know, people have messaged me and called me, and they said, you know, I was talking to your mom all along. I didn't know she was in your hospital bed. Because everyone knows that my mom is my #1 supporter.
Your ride or die, yes.
My ride or die.
Yeah.
And, you know, my first election, she took to the platform in 2016. And then in 2020, she did interviews to let people know who Denise Sawyer Angus is and the values that she instilled in us. And so when I took her in, not having the support system of my, you know, immediate family, and then going through the election, I remember at nights I would call her just to see how she was doing late into the night, and she'd be up waiting on the call. And so finally, you know, in the last days, in fact, before the last days, she continued to campaign from a hospital bed on my behalf. I got a message from a young lady who said, you know, I was in the bed opposite her. I had a surgery. And, you know, the kind of pearls that she was sharing with that young woman. And my mother never gave up, even to the end. I still remember us, you know, we saw her that morning, Wednesday morning, and at 6:30 in the afternoon, we do not know how my mother picked up the phone and sent a message into the family chat. Because when we left her that morning, she didn't have enough energy to feed herself, enough energy to talk. And at 6:37, she sent that message. And by 10:30, she was gone on Wednesday night. And on Thursday morning, I got up. And I got a message from you all. You know, I used to coming to the interview. And it was easy to say, I'm in grief, I can't do this.
Yeah.
And I had to ask myself, what would my mother be saying to me at this point in time? And a voice said to me, pick yourself up and go and finish this race strong. You need to finish. You started the race, you need to finish. And so that is where I am. I am finishing this race on behalf of my mother, who started with me, who is no longer here with me, but she's here with me in spirit, and she's here with Tobago because she gave her heart to Tobago throughout all these years. Both my parents did, and I owe it to them to finish.
Thank you so much, Dr. Angus, for sharing that, for sharing your heart with us this morning. And I know this must not have been an easy thing to do, but we thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. We want to switch gears just a little bit here as we talk about some of the issues that are on the ground, as we talk about the upcoming elections, 1 week being 1 week away. Are you all right?
Yes, I'm good,
Okay,
thank you.
good.
I'm good.
All right, so we are talking about tourism, employment, etc. Now, I want to touch the issue here of, you know, should you be successful in the upcoming, upcoming, not general, but upcoming, I think you're probably on your way there, but upcoming THA elections. You wear many hats. You wear many hats. You wear the hat of wife, mother, daughter, your former counselor, former secretary of community development, former presiding officer. A lot competing for your attention. And likewise, many areas in Tobago that are competing for attention, economic development. Or economic attention. Should you be successful in the upcoming December 6 elections, THA elections, what are the areas within the Tobago space that you believe would require the immediate attention or the greater chunk of the island's $2.357 billion allocation?
Okay, at this point in time, the economy is in shambles. There are people who, you know, in other times would seem as if they're well-to-do. And many of them sometimes can't even put a proper meal on the table. Now, there are those at that level who will never let you see that part of it, because we still have that Tobago pride. But there are many persons out there who cannot put food on the table, and who were in a different bracket before, where they could put food and help others to put food. And we have to recognize that Tobago has not had a robust private sector all this time. But it is a private sector that has to take us out of where we are right now. And therefore, we have to invest significantly in growing a private sector, not just empowering those who are there, but also creating micro enterprises, small businesses, new businesses, so that you begin to have people grow, and they now have increased buying power that they can go to the larger businesses. But we also want to get Tobagonians to focus on the fact that making a product for 50,000 people is not enough. And therefore, we have to start thinking bigger than that. And therefore, whatever support we give from the level of the administration, we have to give it to be able to grow that person to an export market and to assist them to get there. Because 50,000 people on the island, but when you look at it regionally, nationally and regionally, it's millions that we have ourselves available to. And therefore, those are the markets that we have to aim to, and we can begin to become more sustainable. But when you talk about diversifying an economy, because our tourism product is not going to come back right away. And it is not going to sustain us. It's not good to just depend on one thing. And so we also have to have the planning and development of the agricultural sector, so that we move from a sectorial development plan into an industrial development plan. And that way, we can ensure that we're not just dealing with food security, but we're also dealing with export. It means, therefore, that when you give away lands, if you're giving out 300 lands, you must be able to tell your farmers, look, we're giving you lands because we need this in the market at this time. We know there's a market also outside of Tobago for bodi.
Right.
You know, everyone eats bodi. And therefore, we want you to plant 100 acres of bodi because we already have a destination for that. So that is what I call about planning the sector, that you don't just give lands and leave people to do whatever they want on their lands and then become frustrated because they couldn't find a market for what they were doing. And then they all end up at the Scarborough market, you know, competing with each other. But you support them by saying, we're giving these 300 lands because we have already determined a destination for export of X. And therefore, they can do that.
But let me ask you very quickly, has that been happening? Are there checks and balances in place within the agricultural sector in Tobago?
Well, I haven't seen that happening.
Do we have
when you
specific
hear
farmers?
about lands being given away,
Right.
you don't hear it tied to anything.
Okay.
You just hear lands are being given out. And that is not good enough.
Right.
You also have to determine, if you're giving out 300 acres, I hope that your agricultural officers would have gone in and soil tested those acres to see what are the best products that could grow in that area.
So, right.
And therefore, you'll be able to say, okay, well, bodi can't go here. It's not the best crop, but melons could do well here.
Right.
And so we could create the market for melons out of here. That's what I call, you know, forward thinking and planning, so that people are not left with all of this on their hands, and then in the end, they cannot get it sold. And then also making sure that the access to our grants and the agricultural, the ADB, that they are accessible. Many of our local farmers cannot access those grants easily. It has to be negotiated to a platform where Tobago farmers can access it. You cannot just bring a national program, drop it in Tobago, and expect us to grow, because we are different from what is happening in Trinidad, and therefore you have to understand at what stage, you know, if you have a newborn baby, and giving, you know, you start to feed that newborn baby, you wouldn't start to feed the baby with rice.
Right.
You need to give formula. You then need to move to some baby food, right?
Right.
And then you move into the next stages. So you don't just take up and say, okay, well, it's a child, let's just give some rice and meat at the same time. Right. You have to understand at what stage in the development that child is right now, and feed the child appropriately. And that is what I'm saying in Tobago. We have to understand what stage of the development we are in the agricultural sector, and therefore provide the necessary support equivalent to where we are.
All right. I'm not sure if you were privileged to have heard the Prime Minister's address to the nation yesterday, well, last evening. What are your thoughts on what he had to say with regards the COVID-19, the spread of the virus at this point? Some say it was a warning. Some say, you know, what are your thoughts?
I must be frank with you. I did not hear what the Prime Minister had to say. However, I do have my viewpoints on that.
Please share.
And I really believe that, and I continue to maintain that it is hypocritical of the administration to have had on nomination day such a carnival experience with persons just mingling in large numbers, no groups of 10, just all this music and carnival behavior. Many of them didn't even have their mask or pulled down their masks. And as I walked in, I had to couch myself to get through the crowd. And I thought to myself, wow, numbers were rising then, and that was the experience. Where was the responsible campaigning being done? And therefore you lift an SOE ahead of time because you want a campaign, and people have been doing full use of it. The IDA has maintained responsible campaigning. We tape and put out our broadcasts out there. We are not in large numbers, and people feel as if, well, we are not large in number. But I want to protect my people so that they can make it to election day. Coming out in those large numbers are not helping us. So when he comes out to warn us about numbers increasing, I would say check yourself.
Okay. Now, we were talking a little while ago about, you know, where needs the attention in Tobago. The tourism sector, you rightly said, you said a little while ago that the sector is slow but steady to some degree, yes? But how do we move beyond sun, sea, and sand? This is post-COVID. I mean, we're still within the COVID environment, but how do we move beyond sun, sea, and sand post-COVID 2021 and beyond?
So we can begin looking at, and I have always had this idea in my head that for me, I consider Tobago to be paradise. I consider that we could be just as magical as Disney. And having the community tourism projects across the island, so that when a visitor arrives, it's not just one area that has an attraction, but you have packaged attractions in every community across the island, packaged in such a way that it is appealing. And when you look at how the Disney has packaged theirs, you have miles of land, and you go from area to area, and the experience is unique. And you spend a whole day, and you haven't even seen everything yet.
Right.
And we keep going. And so we can look at that model, and we can learn from it. And you create community tourism packages, utilizing their resources, the natural resources they have in the area, and you teach them how to package it, how to work it, how to maximize it. And at the end of the day, you begin to see the economy in those communities flourish. And when they flourish together, then it contributes to the overall building of the Tobago economy. And so I think that is where, you know, we need to identify those niche markets across the island. Apart from that, is one area that is totally untapped. And we never think about it. It is about the area of people come home all the time. People visit all the time. What about making a direct appeal to Tobagonians and West Indian people to come and visit the island? Come and reconnect with home. Reconnect with home, because I think that perhaps is the closest, lowest hanging fruit that we have right now in front of us with our tourism product. And you know, when they come home, many of them don't actually go into their homes to live. Many of them stay in hotels. Many of them, by the time they leave in, they want to buy everything to carry back for friends and other family out there. And so that is an area I think is the lowest hanging fruit right now, because many of them have not seen their family members in the last 2 years with this COVID lockdown. Many of them have lost family members, and they want to come home and reconnect with those who are there.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for that. Now, Dr. Angas, as it pertains to, I mean, like we said, we've got just about a week again. What is on the IDA's slate as it relates to locking down, preparing, you know, grinding down with 1 week, being 1 week away from the elections?
The IDA will continue to touch base with the people. We will continue to speak with the people and let the people know that, you know, we have listened. You know, people say, well, they're not hearing us. That's because we've been listening first. We've been listening to what people call politics at this time, and we're not happy with it. The backbiting, the mudslinging, you know, the bacchanal. There has to be a new way forward for politics, and we are saying to the people of Tobago, do not reward bad behavior. We have seen that bad behavior on both sides. The personal attacks, you know, the mudslinging. Bad behaviors on both sides. Do not reward bad behavior. This is a time for a new way of politics. And so we have focused on plans, we have focused on our facts, we have focused on our solutions. And that has been the mantra of our platform, and we will continue to do that. And I again say to the people of Tobago, do not reward bad behavior, because what we are teaching our young people is the fact that when you go to offer yourself for service, you're going to be crushed. You know, if you have done something that, you know, is challenging, that there's no way to overcome it, there's no way to rebirth yourself. And I believe that we in Tobago, at the end of this, we have to live together. If we are talking about requesting or going for greater autonomy from Trinidad, we have to unite as Tobagonians. How do we unite those two sides after the way they have been behaving out there? And so you have to choose the party, which is the IDA. You have to choose that party. Choose the IDA to be able to unite Tobago in terms of going forward, and to send a message that you're no longer interested in the bacchanal politics, but you want to hear the meat and potatoes about where we're going in Tobago.
All right, one final question. I know quite recently Mr. Hochoy Charles, former Chief Sec, had mentioned the issue here of this election here being a mockery. I know you spoke out on it. Mr. Charles was encouraging persons to not vote. Do not go out there and vote. It is a mockery. It's lies and deceit. You made no bones about it. You said, no, people come out and vote. What are your thoughts on the fact that he's saying here, or his claim is that there is nothing can happen outside of Tobago having autonomy, so that this election is null and void, it's just a sham?
As I said before, I have respect for the former Chief Secretary, Hochoy Charles. But at this time, I question his decision because Ho Choi Charles must know that a call for a no vote at this time favors the incumbent. And the majority of people in Tobago across the island are saying, after 21 years, we need change. And therefore, a no vote campaign does not help us. It forms back the same administration that we have had for the last 21 years. And if in January, that administration, along with the other 6 who, the island gave them the mandate 6 and 6, and yet still they could not come together and resolve their issues. And it is the same reason we are now seeing, when you carry on with so much bacchanal in the politics, on the hustings, how can you come together on a way forward on behalf of the people? And so I am saying to the 51% who did not vote in January, now is the time you have to come out and vote. Now is the time Tobago needs you. Tobago needs you to put a leader who is experienced, who has had the experience, who is not going to go in there and falter for the next 6 months because they're not sure how an executive council works or how the legislature truly works. We cannot falter right now. You need a leader to get in there and start putting Tobago back on track. And therefore, do not sit at home and listen to any no vote campaign. This is a vote campaign. Come out and vote in overwhelming numbers because we do not want a ballot recount. You do not want a ballot recount. It's not going to be that close. Come out in your overwhelming numbers. This is a time to come out and protect Tobago. Just like you did in 2010, you come out to protect. Just like you did in 2013, come out in your large numbers to protect. This is about your children's future.
Thank you so much, Dr. Denise Soifab Angus, for being on the program with us, for chatting with us. And we want to thank you again. We've got, just before we go to the break, viewers, we've got our good stuff coming up. And in the good stuff today, Dr. Akilah Smith is a registered physical therapist who has been practicing for the past 6 years. Dr. Smith recently completed a transitional Doctor of Physical Therapy program from the University of St. Augustine for Health Sciences, San Marcos, California in 2020. She was employed at EWMSC under the NCRHA for 5 years and is now currently employed by the Tobago Regional Health Authority since August 2020. She describes her journey as a physical therapist as highly rewarding and fulfilling. Her love and passion for the profession has been a catalyst for her pursuit of both personal and professional growth. Akilah Smith, TRHA Rep 2021 to 2023. So, Akilah, congratulations to you and all the best in your endeavors. Viewers, we're going to take a break. When we come back, Ricardo Phillips is going to be joining us on set. He's the political leader of the Class Action Reform Movement, and we're talking the outlook on the upcoming Tobago House of Assembly's election. Stay tuned.
Whoa! It's the Quartz Black Friday sale. With the best-selling brands, best deals, and best offers all month long. You don't want to miss your chance to save on wow deals. Save on smart TVs, major appliances, furniture, bedroom and dining, with lots more to choose from. Shop today with Quartz Ready Finance and pay nothing for 90 days. Don't miss this Black Friday sales event. Only at Quartz, bringing value home.
you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Morning again, and welcome back to the Tobago Updates Morning Show. We are chatting with Ricardo Phillips, the political leader of the Class Action Reform Movement. We're talking this morning about outlook on the elections, THA elections 2021. Good morning and welcome to you, Mr. Ricardo Phillips.
Good morning to Ria, Tobago, Mount Pleasant, and Trinidad by extension. And all the other Caribbean islands and everybody who's looking at this program at this time.
All right.
Thank you for having me.
Our pleasure.
Nice.
Ricardo, let's talk about what's been happening with the Class Action Reform Movement. We've not been hearing much of you this time around. What's been happening?
Well, you know, my campaign is confined to really creating and building a philosophy that is not consistent with what we accustomed to during election time.
Right.
So you wouldn't hear the bacchanal and the picong and the confusion, and I would not get involved in the chaos and so on, but really and truly trying to reshape the mindset on what ought to be done, what ought to happen during this election campaign. And so for me, it's really about a quiet working, changing minds, because, you know, change is not an easy thing. And you really doesn't have much of an opportunity to really make that kind of impact in the noise and the chaos that surrounds the election campaign. So I got to do this thing quietly. I have been consistent for the past 3 elections, and there's a reason why I have to take this approach. When you're building something, you don't want to get lost, you know, your philosophy to get lost trying to compete with the trucks and all that kind of stuff. So the Class Action Reform Movement is engaged in the groundwork, in shaping minds and helping people to understand what really is the dynamics involved in election campaign.
What are the key areas that the movement is focused on as it pertains to this election? I mean, you had an opportunity last election. We're talking a few months later. What are the key areas that you are zoning in on?
Well, it has remained the same. When you're building something, you don't change because, you know, the vibe is going different or the atmosphere is going different. You have to be consistent and persistent with the same narrative, and that narrative is to help us understand what is the function of a democracy and what role we play in it. And more importantly is what we have allowed to happen to us over the past 20 years, in Tobago in particular, and in relation to the PNM administration. And so one must understand that this election campaign is not so much about you know, what the PNM has done or has not done. This election has to do with what we have allowed the PNM to do as a people, and what change can we make, what can we do about it. And so that is the main focus, and has remained the focus for the past 3 elections, and will continue to be until, you know, we see change happening, because change doesn't happen overnight, and you have to be consistent and persistent, because it takes some time, in a lot of instances, for people to change their mindset. There's no overnight success with this. All
right, remind us again of how many votes you got for the last election.
You know, to be quite honest, that has not been a significant issue for me. As I said before, traditionally, one would be concerned about
just for viewers.
I think about 50-something.
All right.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that you answered that. Based on that, are you the least bit deterred at this time?
Well, I'm excited.
You're excited.
On the contrary, because it means that I am not measuring my impact by the amount of vote that I get, but how many people understand what the narrative is. We understand what is our role and responsibility. Am I getting through the message? I mean, as I said before, when you don't have the means to provide, to offer and promise jobs, when you don't have the means to promise, to make promises that you're going to give land and so on, you know, that is a different scenario for those who have the means to do that. So I am not in that kind of competition anyway. What is important to me is whether or not one understands that we are the people who owns this scenario, and therefore whatever happening is happening to us. You cannot blame somebody else for it. You have to accept that response. My campaign is really not against the PNM, but against the people for allowing the things that has happened over the 21 years to happen. And that is the politics right there.
Should you be successful in this upcoming elections, what would be one of the first things that you would want to do if given the opportunity?
There is no one thing that.
But
I know. I understand the question. It's a traditional question, but there's no one thing, and I will answer that will stand out in my mind. For me, it's really about empowerment. Empowerment has to be the key thing, because what you have a campaign and traditionally where you promise so much, promise this, promise that, and promise the other. But what you don't promise is to empower people, so that all the things that you're promising, that they can actually achieve those things if you empower them. So for me, really, it's about empowerment, and empowerment means that you got to invest and develop, invest in new industries in Tobago. If you do that, then you have to worry about the job opportunities, you don't have to worry about tourism, you don't have to worry about all the things that people talk about in promising that. Those industries, those sectors will develop on its own, and all you got to do is make sure you manage it and regulate it and so on. So for me, really, it's about empowerment, and that's a large take, but that is really the focus.
Now, you are one voice representing class action reform movement.
At the moment, one public voice.
Right.
At the moment, one public voice, because again, you don't want to. This is not a hustle. This is not about trying to be on TV. It's not about trying to speak against personal characteristics. This really is about building something, and you want to make sure that people understand what it is you're about. I could have, and probably pursue another direction by getting people to get involved and make a sort of noise and say, but I want to build this right. It has to be built right, because if you're talking about change is not overnight. It's absolutely necessary at this point in time, but you have to be mindful that we have years of brainwashing and years of being lied to, years of being misled, years of propaganda and all that stuff. So the state of mind right now doesn't require this bacchanal and all that kind of stuff. So it's got to be a narrative that is taking its time and built.
All right, now you've got just about a week or so again to go before the elections. What is happening on the ground with you? Tell our viewers this morning where you will be, and some of what you have in store for the next week. Well,
yeah, there's a couple of meetings coming up in this week that I haven't done those spot meetings, and I'm very mindful of the pandemic, the state that we're in, and the kind of numbers that we're seeing happening. So I'm sort of managing, ensuring that I don't put myself at risk, because if I do that, then I put my family at risk at the same time. But again, to continue the discussions, a one-on-one discussion, having the discussion with individuals, helping them to understand, especially young people. Mm-hmm. I do a lot of work with young people, and it'll be amazing to see the lack of understanding or the understanding of what the politics, and you hear the response, and it's frightening. So, these are the people that we really got to save. These are the people that we really have to talk to, because they're the ones who are expected to care for us when we get older. Right. And if you really don't get it right with them, then you miss the point. You miss the point. We hear promises of 3,000 jobs in the next whatever. And I am wondering whether or not, how would you promise, or how can you see promising 3 minimum wage job as something significant for young people in Tobago? So I have to help them understand all these things, what these mama guys and what these things really are.
No, you said earlier and a little while ago there that you're about changing the mindset of the people. It's not a quick fix. It's about changing the way people think about the Tobago economy, the Tobago space, Tobago leadership. What would Ricardo Phillips, the class action reform movement, do differently? Clearly you're not happy with what has been offered over the last few years, but what would you do differently? You're talking changing mindsets, yes, but what would you do differently? Well,
you got to get people involved in the discussion and the decision. Tobago, what we have in the past 20, 21 years, and even before that, is that there are those who felt that they knew without consultation with the people what is best for Tobago. We had those type of leaders in the past where they speak on Tobago's behalf, but people still are trying to figure out, well, what it is that you say. What do you mean? Where you get that from? And so what we see happening, even the recent Tobago autonomy and the discussion involving the bill and so on, there has never been a real discussion with the people of Tobago in this regard. You have people of the same voice coming forward and making pronouncements on Tobago's behalf without the consultation of the people. And so for me, it's really about changing that scenario, getting the people involved in the things that affect their own future. You have to be part of your development of your future. You have to see what's on your mind, the ideas that will take Tobago forward. It's not confined to a small group of politicians who feel that they understand all that Tobago is and is about. You've got to have the wider community involved in the discussion, the ideas and so on, break it down into communities and what have you, but get the people on the island involved in the development of their future. If you feel that, then who are you representing? Who are you speaking on behalf of?
All right. Now, you even said a while ago, you heard other sides of the political fence offering persons jobs, creating jobs for persons. And that's just one of the many promises coming from all quarters. People want to know, what are you offering? What are the goodies coming out
There is
from
no,
the reform? Is there anything in your back pocket?
No, there is
anything
no.
in Santa's bag?
Everything belongs to the
bag?
people. I have
Right.
everything belongs to the people of Tobago. Everything that is state-owned belongs to the people. So I have nothing to promise anybody. No T-shirt, no money in T-shirt, nothing, except for the information that will help you make a more informed and better decision. Your future, your island, your economy, your everything. That's all I'm going to promise you. There's no mama guy. There is no, all the skilled people, the carpenters and the farmers and all that. I have nothing to promise you about giving you land and all that. It belongs to you. And therefore, what you want is an administration or persons there who are able to facilitate and ensure that you can get along with the development.
Okay, thank you so much, Ricardo Phillip, for chatting with us this morning. Any closing comments before we go?
Well, I'm just thankful for the opportunity. Congratulate you guys on this venture. And to say that I will continue to do what is necessary and without any pressure in terms of how many votes I get and who saying, that is not my issue at this point in time.
Okay.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for chatting with us this morning, Ricardo Phillips, the political leader of the Class Action Reform Movement. Viewers, we've got This Day in History coming up with Devon Adana. Devon, good morning to you.
Good morning, Ria. How are you?
Doing very well. I am enjoying these live sessions with you for This Day in History.
Me too.
All right, so we see wherever you are, the sun is out.
It is. I mean, it may not be this way every day, but today it is. All right?
All right. Well, do enjoy. It's a pleasure seeing you. Have a great day. Over to you, Devon Adana.
This day in Tobago history. Did you know that on November 26th in 2011, a UNDP youth emissary performed at Pigeon Point? According to the Tobago House of Assembly website, 10 years ago today, the popular Senegalese artist Baba Mal performed at the Voices of Freedom concert. Baba paid a courtesy call to the then Chief Secretary of the Tobago House of Assembly, Mr. Orville London, the day before the concert, where he was given a token of Tobago to commemorate his time on the island. Baba Mal, who has been performing since the age of 11, told the Chief Secretary that the message of his music encouraged people to forget their differences and come together, and to work together for a better life for the next generation. The Voices of Freedom concert took place in celebration of the International Year of People of African Descent and was hosted by the Secretary of Community Development and Culture. On the night, the Senegalese singer also shared the Pigeon Point Heritage Park stage with Trinbago powerhouse artist Ella Anden. This has been This Day in Tobago History. My name is Devon Adana. Back to you in studio.
Whoa! It's the Quartz Black Friday sale. With the best-selling brands, best deals, and best offers all month long, you don't want to miss your chance to save on wow deals. Save on smart TVs, major appliances, furniture, bedroom and dining, with lots more to choose from. Shop today with Quartz Ready Finance and pay nothing for 90 days. Don't miss this Black Friday sales event. Only at Quartz, bringing value home.
Think about the poor health care and jam the X in. Think about the poor educational system your children have to face with. Jam the X. When you think every time you can't go down in a pothole, jam the X. Every time you think that you are poor and you're needy and the food cards flying elsewhere because you are perceived to be of a certain other color, certain other political loyalty, jam it. Put it right up inside.
BDP for the win now.
You can now get whatever you need whenever you need it anywhere in Tobago with Tobago. Your meals, medication, groceries, and shopping all delivered directly to you. No more hassle, no more stress. Get the Tobago app today on Google Play or Apple App Store.
That's TAPPOGO and let us deliver to you.
Check our website at www.tapogo.app or call the experts at 494-TOGO and 484-4746. Tobago. Relax. We will get it to you. Tobago's at your service.
Morning, morning, good morning, morning. Put a smile on your
It's a different type of thing down there. Man, we party till we drop down there. With a lot of pretty girls down there. Down in Tobago.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Viewers, welcome back to the Tobago Updates Morning Show. A lot happening in the Tobago space. Even as we speak, we've got just about a week again to go for the upcoming THA elections. You know, over the last few days, we've been getting a lot of calls, a lot of messages from persons within the community as it relates to issues on the ground. One resident of Longbed, Belgarden, or Longbed, Kendall, depends on where you look at, Longbed in the east. She mentioned that she had been contacting persons within the Tobago House of Assembly with regards to street lights in Longbed and the water issues that they've been facing in Longbed. She's a single mother of a daughter, and if you know the east, if you know Longbed, when you get to Kendall, it takes you, is that road that takes you left up into Belgarden. Now, it's a very long stretch of road that is can be somewhat isolated. There are no street lights, and she has been calling on the authorities to put street lights. Now, we all know Tobago, that there are areas in Tobago where nobody lives. Nobody lives there, but there are street lights. Nobody lives there, but there are street lights. So she's calling on the authorities. I mean, as I mentioned to her that this is something worth highlighting. I said, not a problem. We're going to throw this out to see what can happen. What, you know, we're talking people. We're talking people's lives here. Getting the issues resolved, getting water issues. Imagine in this day and age, 2021, that persons are still having water issues, water problems, that you have to go to a standpipe, fill a bucket. I mean, those things happened when we were children, but these things should not be happening in our society today. It should not be happening in Tobago, where you cannot have access to running water on your property. So we decided to throw that out there throw that issue out there. And of course, we've been getting, you know, other messages from persons, from villagers within the community, the issue of transportation, the issue of a reliable bus service in areas of Tobago. I'm not just talking about East. I mean, East Tobago has somewhat of a reliable bus service. I can tell you because I sometimes use the bus service, and I tell you, I enjoy the PTSC ride. I do. I make no bones about it. It's a comfortable ride. It's safe. It's secure. Persons are somewhat socially distanced, somewhat on the bus, but the bus drivers ensure that you sanitize upon entry. All right. So I just wanted to throw that out there to you. I think we've got a person on the line at this time. We are talking this morning about Caribbean Tourism Month 2021. We've got Jesse Taylor online with us. He is the Cultural Officer 2 at the Division of Culture. Good morning and welcome to you, Jesse Taylor.
Pleasant good morning and happy Friday to you, Ria.
Thank you so much, Jesse. It's always a pleasure to chat with you, whether you're face-to-face or you are virtual. Jesse, tell us what's happening for Caribbean Tourism Month 2021.
Well, as you know, the Division of Tourism, Culture and Transportation continues to fulfill its mandate by ensuring that we become and endeavor to sustain our place in the world market as being one of the #1 tourism destination. And so that we welcome, as always, the opportunity to celebrate and promote our product worldwide, so to say. Because we had the event of, sadly as it is, of COVID-19, a lot of what we have had to have done. And so this week, we joined the world is celebrating the week. We will be doing things. We each clean up throughout Tobago.
Oh, okay, Jesse. I think there's something is happening with your video. We're getting a bit of sticking there, so I'm not sure what's happening. But certainly we'd love to reconnect with you in the few minutes that we have remaining for the show to have a better idea of what's happening for the Caribbean Tourism Month 2021. So maybe we can try again to reconnect with you. All right, and I would love to ask Jesse, though, you know, how do we, you know, about us moving beyond sun, sea, and sand. Jesse, are you back with us? Can you hear me now?
I'm hearing you. Yes, I'm hearing you.
Okay, good. Yes, we are hearing you a bit better. Go ahead, please.
Right. So, trade show, and I've used this opportunity to promote that Tobago is still a place that you can visit, and we hope that you will visit. As you know, the mantra of we have a 101 reasons why you should visit. Tourism agency have joined with other private sector holders and entrepreneurs who will be displaying their stuff virtually in the space. So you have an opportunity, one, to either show your product live, a demonstration, or to package it in whatever form, as long as it's one of these things that can be considered a tourism product, as there are many. So ranging from clothing to places, jewelry, whatever stuff that you can promote. So we have had an open call for over 50 ascribed people who have been registered, and this starts today at 10 o'clock, and the link is available on the tourism website on this page.
Okay. So persons can access the page for more information, yes?
Yes, through the tourism division's page, the online, you can get online and you can get the information there. It starts at 10 o'clock, and you can just join. You get the password and the register link, and you can just join in and be a part of the process, and eventually you can secure all the stuff that you may see, and you will certainly get information how to reach them, call card information that you can get online, website, and other stuff. is actually an opportunity to reach the buyers and sellers market to create a trade industry. As you know, we have been hit severely by the onslaught of COVID-19. And so this is an opportunity to help restart the sector. And you know we need to restart the sector so we can turn the economy, so to speak, real, to ensure that Tobago is positioned itself to be where it used to be in its former glory.
Well, thank you so much for chatting with us, Mr. Jesse Taylor. So, viewers, you can check out the division's website for more information. But we've got to leave it there for today. We want to thank you so much for joining us. It was a pleasure being in your company, Tobago, Trinidad, the Caribbean, and those of you viewing us on the live. We missed Julian today, but Julian, stay safe wherever you are. Have a great day. Have a wonderful weekend at Tobago, and we will see you on Monday. So remember to stay safe, wear your mask, sanitize, and Julian is not here. Socially distance. Bye, Tobago.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.